Hi class and welcome to Health Policy. My name is Dr. Nancy Shahada and I will be your professor for this course. So this is a navigational video. I'll just be going over the links found on the left-hand side course menu bar right over here. And I'll also be going over the layout of this course. So hopefully you will find it easier to maneuver through this online Canvas course. If you ever have any questions, never hesitate to reach out. I am here to help. All right, so let's get started. So I am actually on the home page of our course. I have a little welcome message. And then below that, you find two buttons. So when you click on this button, it takes you to this video that you are watching right now. And then when you click on the Get Started button, it takes you to the Start Here page. Now, what this page is, it really just provides you with all kind of the information you need to get started in this course and hopefully be successful. So let me just briefly go through what is on this page. I am going to hide myself really quick so that way we could you can focus on the screen in front of you. Again, another welcome message. And then below that, you'll find some contact information. So my email, never hesitate to send me an email when you have a question. You could also send me a course message. And then here is my telephone number. You could also text me to that number as well. Below the information about me is a very brief description of this course. Below that, you'll find the course objectives, and then you will find the course syllabus as well as the weekly course schedule. So the reason I have both of them here, the syllabus, of course, you know what that is, a blueprint of the course and what I expect of you. But the weekly course schedule, which you'll find it in the syllabus as well, I want you to also always refer back to. So the way I lay it out is each week has, I include kind of the topics we're covering for the week as well as the assignments. And you'll find all the due dates there and you will know what is due when. So very important to always kind of go back to. Then below that, we have our required materials. So in this course, we are using Essentials of Health Policy and Law. And then we also use the Navigate To scenario for health policy. And what this is, it's a learning tool where there are virtual scenarios for different topics on health policy. And you will be putting together discussion board assignments based on those scenarios. Now, I do want to point out, do not submit anything through the Navigate To scenario learning tool because I do not check it through the site. What I do is once you've viewed it, and of course it'll prompt you to make little decisions while you're watching it. Once you've went through the full virtual scenario, you will go to the discussion board assignment forum or discussion board forum dedicated for that scenario whenever I have the due date or the week that it's assigned in this course. And you will find instructions in the discussion board forum on what I expect you to include in your discussion board assignment post. I always strongly suggest for my students to take the time, not just for the Navigate To scenario assignments, but for all the discussion board assignments to do some research on your own. So other than the information that I provide to you, other than the information I provide to you in the discussion board instructions section of the discussion board forum, you should also take the time to do some research on your own supporting the ideas that you're presenting in your post. Make sure to always reference the sources you use. I also suggest for you to include in-text citations for the sources that you've used in your post. It lets me know what information you have retrieved from that source and you're presenting it to us. And in-text citations are very important. They give credit where credit is due. Now, I'm supposed to be hidden while I'm doing this video, but I'm thinking that it's not catching it. So if you do see me on the bottom right-hand side of your screen, don't mind me. I do not want to distract you from what I'm covering in our Canvas course, but I'm not sure why it isn't working, so it's fine. All right, so let me scroll further down. Here's some information on academic integrity and etiquette. You'll also find this information in the course syllabus. Below that, we have, I have here the accessibility and privacy policies. And below that is some FAU student success information. Last but not least is a little to-do list, things that you need to complete before going on to actually start this course. So what I have is you will be completing the syllabus quiz, which is mandatory, but your score is not accounted for in this course, in the course grade. And then you also have your introductory post, which is also mandatory. And what you'll do is you'll be introducing yourself, a written post to the class, as well as recording a Flipgrid video. It's a very short video, very easy to use. I'm expecting 30 seconds to a minute where you introduce yourself to the class, and it really helps us we all become a little more familiar with each other, especially since this is a virtual class. And what else? Okay, I think that pretty much covers it for the Start Here page. I'm going to scroll back up and then go through the links that you see on the left-hand side course menu bar. So let's start with the syllabus. Now, this is not the syllabus for this course, but this is the syllabus that Canvas provides for each online course. And it just provides a breakdown of what is due when, like the assignments, as well as their due dates. You will find on the right-hand side the weight of each assignment category or assignment in this course. So the reason I differentiate between the two, you'll find the assignment category of discussion boards as one category. And then you'll find health policy outline, health policy paper, health policy video presentation. Each one has a separate percentage that is accounted for in your course grade. And then the quizzes are lumped together into one category. I hope I didn't confuse you all there, but just to kind of give you an idea of how much each assignment or assignment category weighs in this, regarding your course grade. All right, so as I scroll a little further down, you'll find the syllabus as well as the weekly course schedule here, and you'll find the assignments that are due below. All right, so let me scroll back up, and now I'm going to jump to the modules. So the way I have broken down, or I have the layout of this course, is each week in this course represents one module. And before I go through the student resource module, I'm going to jump down to the first week in this course just to briefly give you an idea of what is found in each content page of the module. And you'll find the same layout in each module in this course. So the first content page, we have the overview of materials and assignments. I always include a weekly introductory video. You will also find on the first content page the weekly objectives, assignments that are due, video lectures, as well as a to-do list. So you know exactly what's expected of you by the end of the module. That must be completed before going on to the following module. Then the second content page, you will find the chapter PowerPoints. You'll also find a section on some of the information from the chapter. I usually include different diagrams, information. A lot of it will be from the required text. Some of it won't. But it's just some additional information other than what you've read and the PowerPoints you've reviewed. Then the third content page, we have the videos for this week. So what I do is I usually choose different videos that coincide with your assigned readings, just to kind of enhance the topics you've read, since it covers the same topics, and hopefully clears up any questions you may have. The idea is for those videos to help you really understand what's being covered in the assigned chapters. Of course, if you have any questions at all, never hesitate to reach out. As I said, you could send me a course message, an email, or you can text me to the number found on the syllabus. All right, sorry about that. All right, so that kind of gives you an idea of the module. Just to really touch really quickly on the links. So discussion board links, assignment submission links, quizzes, you will always find those assignment links that are due in the module in the week in which they are due. So you don't need to really go to the links found on the left-hand side regarding your discussion board or quiz. You will find the quiz link in the week in which it's due. Okay, so as you can see, here we have our 3 content pages. You'll always find that layout, and then you'll find the assignment links below that. So here we have our discussion board icebreaker or introductory discussion board forum, and then another discussion board that's assigned for the first week as well. All right, so now I'm going to jump back, and really quick, I'm going to go through the assigned course projects and then just briefly go over all the other links found in the student resource module. This module is included to help provide you with a little more information on what is expected in this course regarding different assignments. So let's start with the assigned course projects. So here I started off with kind of the major project or paper when they're due, different components of it. So you have your outline, paper, and video when they're due. And as you scroll further down, you will find an example of the outline, so you know what I expect, an example of the health policy paper, and different links that you may find useful. What else? Tips on writing a health policy analysis, since that's something we do in this course. And then last here, I've included a couple of videos going over the APA writing style, which is the writing style we use in this course. Anytime you reference any sources, I expect them to follow an APA writing style. And then also the in-text citations need to follow an APA writing style. All right, so I'm scrolling back up. I don't want to get you dizzy there. And really quick, so let me go back to the module since I want to briefly go through the student resource module. So here we have the assigned course projects. Then below that, we have instructions on discussion board assignments. And in this, I really strongly suggest for you to take the time to kind of go through each. The instructions on discussion board assignments, you will know exactly what I expect you to include in your discussion board assignment regarding doing a little research on your own, referencing sources, and responding to your fellow classmates, which is a requirement for each discussion board assignment in this course. Below that is instructions on the Padlet wall, depending on what assignment I've included. For you to use a Padlet wall, here you'll find instructions on how to use the learning tool. Very easy to use, by the way. It's like an electronic white poster board, and you get to share your information and present it on this electronic white poster board. It's pretty cool. Below that are instructions on how to use Novio or Screencast-O-Matic, which are the two options for you to do your video presentation on. And then below that are some useful links for this course. Below that are some tips on being successful in an online course. It's, good to go over. Here are instructions on how to use Canvas for those of you that may be new to this learning management system. And then below that is information on the Navigate To scenario. It actually used to be called Learnscapes, and we do use this for this course. Below that, you'll find information on how to connect to the library. Below that is some information on your eSuccess Advisor. Below that is information on the Remote Proctor software, which is an online proctoring software that we use here at College of Business. When you do need to use it, I will be sure to let you know. And then last is a content page on the accessibility and academic assistance at FAU. All right, so that pretty much, I think, covers it there. And really quick, as I said, here you'll find the announcements. Make sure that your profile is set or your settings are set where you receive your announcements as emails. I send out a lot of announcements. I like us all to be on the same page. I do my best to send out reminders for assignments that are due as well. And then below the announcements link, you have the assignments, quizzes, discussion board. You can check them out. But I always suggest for you, you really won't need to go in the assignments, quizzes, or discussions link, because any of the assignment submission links, quizzes, or discussion board assignments, you will always find the link in the week in which it's due. So in the module of the week in which it's due. I hope I didn't confuse you, but as I had shown you previously. Next, we have the link people, so you'll know your fellow students in this class. And then here are the grades for this course. So anytime I grade anything, you want to know what you received, that's where you check it out. You have any questions, never hesitate to reach out. I'm here to help. And I think that pretty much covers it. I look forward to having a great semester with you all. Best of luck and take care. Bye.